Here's a question that can completely change your life. What if every thought you have is wrong? Not just some of them, not the ones you already doubt, but all of them. Most people move through life assuming their thoughts are correct simply because they feel familiar. They rarely pause to ask, where did this thought come from? Is it accurate? Is it helping me or holding me back? Instead, they treat whatever appears in their mind as the truth. And you might think, my partner is upset with me, for example, when they're just tired, or I'll never succeed at this project because something similar failed years ago. We react automatically, filtering reality through our memories, our emotional patterns, fears, and past experiences. Our thoughts feel real, but they're not reality. They are our brain's predictions about reality. I have some videos about the predictive brain, prediction errors, starting at episode 60. You might want to take a look at those. So that shift in perspective, asking, what if everything I think is wrong, was the most transformative decision I've ever made. Not from insecurity and not from self-doubt. It's like mental liberation. It's stepping outside your automatic thoughts and observing them clearly. Once you start assuming your thoughts might be wrong, you gain a rare power. It's psychological distance. You stop being fused with every idea, fear, or judgment you might produce. You become the observer and not the prisoner. So your mind is not a camera recording life as it happens. And neuroscience shows it's a prediction machine. It constantly compares incoming sensory data with your past experiences, your cultural norms, emotional conditioning, and expectations. In other words, your brain doesn't passively perceive reality. It anticipates it. So thoughts are predictions. They are not facts. We know that to be the case now. And just like any prediction, they can be wrong. And cognitive psychology confirms this. Our thinking is shaped by biases we rarely notice. For example, confirmation bias. It makes us notice information that supports what we already believe. And negativity bias. It makes bad news loom larger than it is. There's emotional reasoning. It convinces us that what we feel must be true. And anchoring causes us to overvalue our first impressions. So there's so much going on here that's preventing us from really accessing reality. Memory distortion, for example, subtly rewrites the past to fit our narrative. Right? We're even distorting our memories. So these invisible filters, they run constantly. They're shaping our perception, our emotions, and our behavior. And what is the result? We rarely react to reality. Instead, we react to our brain's predictions of reality. These are often outdated, incomplete, or entirely inaccurate. So once I realized this, I saw that most of my thoughts weren't me. They were echoes, patterns, and scripts from the past. So following them blindly is like navigating with a GPS that still has old maps programmed. So I started treating these thoughts as hypotheses, right? Instead of fact or truth, they're hypotheses. All the thoughts, every thought that I have, you have to do it wholesale. So they are suggestions to test, not commands to obey. So a thought became something to examine, not something to follow automatically. That single change transformed my daily life. Now the next step, after assuming that all of your thoughts are wrong, or might be wrong, is curiosity. So curiosity is a superpower. When you assume your thoughts might be wrong, you ask better questions. Hopefully you do. So like, where did this thought come from? Is it helping me or holding me back? Is it based on present reality or past experience? And does it align with the person I want to become? So asking yourself these questions, it creates psychological space. They allow you to choose which thoughts are useful and which should be discarded. And most people I want you to remember this. Most people don't have a thinking problem. They have a perception problem. So they're trying to build a new life through an old lens. They end up repeating cycles of misjudgment, frustration, and self-limitation. So this is how freedom begins. It's by creating the space between you and your thoughts. And this concept is not new. You're probably familiar with Stoicism. Teaches that impressions are not facts. And in Buddhism, they teach that thoughts are not the self. And in CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy in psychology, it trains people to examine and reframe distorted thinking. This goes on and on. Even Socratic philosophy, it emphasizes questioning your assumptions. And modern neuroscience shows how the brain prioritizes prediction over perception. So all of these disciplines point to the same truth. You are not your thoughts. And instead, you're the awareness observing them. This is not going to turn into a spiritual video, but there's so much truth and reference that are in support of this. And I'm just going to the extreme, right? Because if you're not questioning every thought, how do you know which ones to question? We're falling back on making these assumptions. So when you stop automatically trusting your thoughts, you access something profound. It's clarity behind the emotion. It's intelligence behind the noise, and choice behind the reaction. Okay, so instead of reacting automatically, like they canceled because they don't care, right? Your date. You can notice the thought and replace it with a better one. They're busy. This says nothing about my worth. Do you see that? So that one shift rewires your emotional response completely. So this brings us to the better thought method. Let's call it that, the better thought method. It's grounded in psychology and practical neuroscience. There's a few steps here I want you to learn. The first step, number one, assume the thought might be wrong. Assumption. This creates separation between you and the thought. And number two, investigate the thought. Identify the biases, the past experiences, or the emotional patterns that are shaping it. Right? So one, assume everything I think is wrong. Try to remember this throughout the day. I know some of it's going to seem silly when you're having simple thoughts, but just go with it. Number three, so try to find out what's causing this inaccuracy. Number three, replace it with a better thought. So not simply positive, but more accurate, useful, and aligned with your goals and values. So if you apply this consistently, this method will rewire your brain. It will improve your decision making and strengthen your emotional resilience. So it's obviously leverages principles from CBT, from metacognitive therapy, and cognitive reappraisal. So these are the same tools that psychologists use to help people overcome anxiety, depression, and self-limiting beliefs. So it's incredible how powerful this is. So again, why does it work? Because the greatest barrier to personal growth isn't fear or failure, it's certainty. So believing your current thinking is flawless, we know a lot of people that do, it traps you in old cycles. So let's let go of that illusion and let your mind open, right? So you want to be flexible, strategic, and responsive instead of reactive. People who defend every thought, they stay stagnant. And people who refine their thoughts, they evolve rapidly. So think of your own life. How often have you acted on a thought only to realize later that it wasn't true. Most people repeat this endlessly. And by practicing this method, you will disrupt the cycle. You can create space to choose thoughts that empower you rather than trap you in the past. So next time a thought arises about your future, about your relationships, your health, abilities, self-worth, just pause and ask, what if this thought is wrong? What's a better thought? The amazing thing is, the more you do this over days, weeks, and months, your brain starts to do it by itself for you. And you'll notice yourself doing it instead of trying to remind yourself to do it. It's remarkable. So, by the way, this isn't insecurity, this is intelligence. We want to value this, having this clarity over just being comfortable, right? And step out of this automatic thinking. I've had videos on automatic thinking. Go search channel and let's step into intentional living. It's a keyword a lot of people love, right? Living with intention. So every single day of practicing this awareness, it shifts your reactions, right? A week of this rewires your emotional patterns. And over time, your old fears will dissolve because you're no longer feeding them with unquestioned thoughts. So life doesn't change first, you do, because your perception changes. So all of this starts with one courageous question. What if everything I think is wrong? Please repeat that to yourself. Try this out, not just for a moment or for today. Let's go with this for a month, right? And I will really want to hear about what your experience is like. So this question is going to free you from a lot of outdated mental scripts. And you may even be able to access your intuition, some wisdom. We need wisdom. Creativity and clarity that were probably always inside of you, right? So think of this as a doorway to your psychological freedom, your emotional mastery, and living intentionally. Thank you for watching today's episode. Please like and subscribe if you found this helpful. Share it with a friend, and I'll see you on the next one.